So as we're looking at this review, again, we're looking at what you need to know for the quiz. This is essentially the same as the quiz, just different letters and numbers, slightly different pictures, but just as always happens, if you know how to handle the review, the quiz is going to be a breeze, which is why we give it to you. But please remember that this doesn't happen you're not going to understand it just by watching me do it. You need to be, hopefully a lot of you have already worked through most of this worksheet on your own, so you've had a chance to practice it, see where you understand, see where you don't understand, so that as I go through things, you can learn from what you did wrong or learn from what you didn't understand. At the very least, be copying stuff down as I do it, so that you're writing. Don't just sit and watch me do it. That's really not going to be all that helpful for you. Remember, learning math is an active process, not a passive one. You don't learn it just by watching, you learn it by doing, which is why we do assignments and take notes and do those things. Actions help us learn what's going on, not just observation. So, all right, 3 things we're looking for here. We're looking for, first, all the congruent angles, list all pairs of congruent angles, then write a ratio of corresponding sides, then write the similarity statement. So let's start with the congruent angles. Similar triangles have corresponding angles congruent. So who can tell me one pair of congruent angles in this picture? Yeah, what do you got? Angle N is congruent to angle N. And notice when we're naming angles, what symbol do I use? I don't know, maybe the angle symbol, right? Okay. What's another pair of congruent angles? Angle L would be one of them. Angle L is congruent to angle what? H. But which angle H? Is it LHG? Is it NHG? Is it NHL? Which H is it? Okay, GHN. So I can get away with just one letter for angle L because there is only one angle L drawn up there. But if there are multiple angles, you have to be specific and use a 3-letter name. If in doubt, always use the 3-letter name. Okay. Last one would be angle M is congruent to angle HGN. Okay, so that'd be part 1, getting those done. Part 2 is write the statement of proportionality. Now here's where we list the corresponding sides in proportion. Okay, it has a big old written out proportion. So I go whole side of triangle to whole side of triangle. Really, the biggest mistake people make here is they do something like NG to GM. That's not going to work here. Because NG is the whole side of a triangle, GM is not. You can't compare unlike things. So we'd say NG to what? NM is the corresponding side. Equals, what would be another thing then in that order? We went small triangle to big triangle, so let's be consistent. So this side in that small triangle. And H would be another one. Over, what would be the corresponding side in the big triangle? And L. And the third side in the small triangle is? It shouldn't be that hard. Look at the picture. We got this side in this triangle. We got this side in this triangle. What's the third side? GH. And what's the corresponding side in the big triangle? ML. That's all we got to do. That's the statement of proportionality. Okay? Notice I do not have to use the line segment symbols here because these are the measurements of those segments that we use in the proportion. We use their measurement, so I don't need the symbol there. That's nice. Finally, triangle NML is similar to, what's the first thing we're going to put in that blank? No, not an N. A triangle symbol, because we're naming a triangle. A lot of you have a tendency to forget to use the correct symbol. If you just write NML, that's indicating to me probably plain NML, and a triangle is not congruent to a plane. Symbols are important. Don't be like, oh, well, you know what I mean. Well, if you know what you mean, then tell me what you mean. Okay? Yes, I know what you mean. I want to know if you know what you mean. So triangle N, and goes with N, M goes with G, and L clearly goes with H. Has to be in that order. Corresponding order is important, just like when we did congruent triangles. Okay, that's kind of our warm-up. Here's our full speed ahead. Okay, same thing. List the corresponding angles. Angle E is congruent to angle what? Okay, be more specific. QPC. Or CPQ, either way. And angle D is congruent to angle CQP. And angle C is congruent to angle C. Nice and easy. How about the statement of proportionality? So let's start with one. What's a whole side? Which one do you want to start with? You can pick any whole side to start with. What? CQ. All right. So CQ corresponds to CD, not QD, CD. And since we went bigger to or smaller to bigger, I got to do smaller to bigger every time. So what would be another smaller to bigger comparison? CP to CE equals PQ over DE or ED, it doesn't matter. Okay? And finally, triangle CDE is similar to, what's going to go first? Triangle CQP. Because D goes with Q and E goes with P. Yep. Keep fooling you on that what comes first question, aren't I? Don't be fooled on the test. It's okay to get fooled here. It doesn't cost you anything, other than maybe a little bit of embarrassment, but that's probably good for you. All right. Solve for X. The polygons are similar. This is going to be really, really very basic if you can set up a proportion. Because remember the way we solve for X is to set up proportions. I still have some people who are trying to do 2x plus 4 equals 15 or 2x plus 4 equals 18 or proportion. So corresponding sides. 2x plus 4 is what I need to solve for. What is the corresponding side for that? The 15 equals, and that's another ratio of corresponding parts. The 24 goes with the 18, right? And we have to be consistent. I went from big to small, so I got to go big to small again, don't I? How do I solve that? Yeah, we cross multiply. Where some people did the fish thing. The problem with the fish method is, what it was is this times this divided by that. But that doesn't work well if I have other than just a plain X up here. When I get something that's not a plain X, we have to do the full cross multiply. Yeah. Oh, did I write 10 instead of 18? Sorry. I just wrote poorly, that's all. Okay. So I can go 18 times 2x plus 4 equals 15 times 24. And now I just do the math. 18 times 2 is 36x plus 72 equals 360. Subtract the 72, I get 36x equals 288. Divide by 36. And 288 divided by 36 is what? 8? 8 would be 240 plus 48. Yes, 8 is correct. Okay? We got our solution. Okay? Set up a proportion, cross multiply, solve. We've kind of been doing that all week, right? Well, maybe so, but hopefully now our lack of success moments have taught us some lessons that lead to some more successes, right? Oh, well, can't help that. All right, how about this one? Same basic idea. Again, let's start with what we're trying to find. 2x minus 7. What side does that correspond to? Now, this isn't as easy because I'll flip it around and twist it. The 30. Equals, I need to find another pair of corresponding sides and set it up. Now, I went small to larger, so I better go smaller to larger again, be consistent. 45 to 50 would be fine. Now, there is a way to make this a little bit easier with the numbers. If you notice back here, 24 over 18, that could have reduced, right? Which would give me smaller numbers and smaller numbers in my process here. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. This is perfectly correct. But if I want to give myself a little bit more manageable numbers, I'm more than welcome to reduce that ratio if I can. 45 over 50 becomes 9 over 10, right? 5 goes into both of those. Now I've got slightly smaller numbers for my cross multiplying. So 10 times 2 is 20x minus 70. 30 times 9 is 270. Be careful, you're not going to get a 200 here. I'm going to add 70 to each side, so a little algebra, trickiness. 20x equals 340, divide by 20. 34 divided by 2x is 17. And we're all set. Okay, so obviously we have to have some algebra skills here. So you got to watch your algebra skills pretty carefully. Show that work. Don't just write this down and try to go straight to the answer. Show your setup. Show your steps. Get that partial credit. Here, they just wanted us to, what did they say? Find the ratio of their perimeters and the ratio of their areas. Now, perimeters are a length measurement, area is an area measurement, obviously. The ratio of perimeters is going to be the same as the scale factor, right? So I just have to find one pair of corresponding sides and reduce that to lowest terms, and that will be the scale factor, which will be the same as the ratio for any lengths. So do I have a pair of corresponding sides I know the measurements of both of? 40 and 48 are corresponding sides. I don't care if they're the left and the right one, they're both isosceles. Which 8 goes into both of these, 5 times and 6 times, which is my scale factor. So my scale factor is 5 to 6. Right? So what would the ratio of areas be? I'm sorry, of perimeters. Let's start there. Yeah, it's 5 over 6. I don't need to actually calculate the perimeters because I know the ratio is going to be the same for all length measurements. Whether they're sides or perimeters or diagonals or whatchamacallit, I don't know. Okay? But what's the ratio of the areas then? It's not 5 to 6, is it? But it's based on 5 to 6.
Oh, it's 5, 6 squared.
5, 6 squared, which would be 25 over 36, yeah. That's the ratio of my areas.
And I'm wondering how I got 115 over 136.
Oh, well, you probably actually calculated the perimeters. You probably added these three together, but that would give you a 115 or a 136. That would give me a 90. That'd be 138.
That might be. My writing is bad.
Yeah, that's true. Call it like it is, man. All right, how about here? What would be the ratio of perimeters? Okay, 3 over 9, but I have to reduce that to 1/3. Okay? Now, it doesn't specify large to small or small to large, so we could go either way. You could have had 3 to 1 as well, and that would have been fine. So 1 to 3 or 3 to 1, either one is dandy. So what's the ratio of areas going to be?
1/9.
Is 1 squared over 3 squared, or 1 to 9. And if you did 3 to 1 here, you'd have to do 9 to 1 down here. You have to be consistent. We go down ratio of areas and ratio of perimeters. It's the same as the scale factor. We don't actually have, unless it asks me to, I don't actually have to calculate the actual area or perimeter. Are they similar? And if they are, write a statement of similarity. Now, in order to be similar to polygons, all the corresponding angles have to be congruent. All the corresponding sides have to be proportional. But we're lucky here. In both these figures are rectangles. All the angles are 90s, right? So all the corresponding angles are congruent. That's done. That's given. What I have to do is I have to show that all the corresponding sides are proportional. So what I do is I find a pair of corresponding sides. Let's start with the tops. They're the short sides. Short side to short side, 25 over 30. And I reduce that to its scale factor, lowest terms. 25 over 30 is 5 over 6, right? And I find the next pair of corresponding sides, which would be 30 and 36. And I reduce that, which also reduces to 5 over 6. Now, it so happens the other ones are repeats, but I'll list them anyway, just to be safe. So all the corresponding sides ratios reduce to exactly the same value, don't they? That means that they're proportional. If 3 of them reduce to the same and the 4th one did not, we are not proportional. They all have to reduce to the same ratio. Okay. So they are similar, because all the corresponding sides are proportional. All the corresponding angles are congruent. And just statement of proportionality now. Now, this is a quadrilateral, so I'm not going to start with a triangle symbol, am I? It's some people who like drill that into you so much. Start with a triangle symbol that we get a quadrilateral and they draw a triangle symbol. Not a triangle, though, so that's when things get a little awkward. What's a symbol for a quadrilateral? There is none. You can just write the letters down. A, B, C, D is similar to, what would be the corresponding order? W, Z, Y, X. Okay? Keep it corresponding. And we're good. Next one. Are they similar? If so, make the statement of similarity. Well, I can see that all corresponding angles are congruent. That's kind of given to me, isn't it? Because of the markings. So now I have to find if corresponding sides are congruent. So 4 over 23 does not reduce, does it? Okay, great. I'm going to skip the decimal ones for now because those look hard. Let's just do the other whole number one and see if that reduces to 4 over 23 also. That 6 over 36 reduces to 1. Oh, they don't reduce to the same thing. So we're done, aren't we?
I like that.
Not similar.
You can drop it.
We write that down. Now, what if I did have to do the decimal sides? Let me just kind of refresh how that gets done. What we do is we take the 2.4 over 15.6, and we move the decimal place 1 for both of them to get rid of the decimals. So I get 24 over 156. Now let me remind you how to do this on your calculator. In most of your calculators, you simply use the fraction key. You put 24 fraction 156, and if you hit equals, it'll probably reduce that fraction to lowest terms for you automatically. My calculator actually makes it a decimal, then I have to do math fraction, change to fraction, and it'll reduce it to 2/13 for me. Okay? 12 goes into both of those. But they are not, that's not the same as 1/6 or a 4/23, is it? So not proportional, not similar polygons. All right, our last two questions deal with proving that the two triangles are similar if they are. We have only one way at this point of proving two triangles are similar. We're going to get two more starting on Monday night going into Tuesday. But for now, we only have one. What's the only way of showing that two triangles are similar? My only reason. Okay, and we call that angle similarity, right? Now, what I'm going to want you to do on these problems, I don't just want you to make the statement. I want you to show me what are the congruent angles that you know. Now, it's kind of obvious here because the markings tell us. It's all given. Just say angle L is congruent to angle what? C. And angle K is congruent to angle B. So we have angle similarity. Therefore, triangle, I'll go ABC, is similar to triangle, and that would be the corresponding order. A goes with J, B goes with K, and then C goes with L. There we go. So when it's asking you what you need, it says show your work. It means list the corresponding congruent parts so that we can get this done. Here we're definitely given angle M is congruent to angle C. Do I have a second set of congruent angles to work with in this picture? Yeah, I do. Where are they? My vertical. So how would I name them? Angle MLN is congruent to angle CLP. Okay, and I don't have to give a reason. That's not a formal proof. We can just state what we know. I will understand you know that's by vertical angles if you state that. Don't just say angle L is congruent to angle L because this angle L is not congruent to that angle L. We have to be specific. We have to communicate clearly what we mean. And we're using what? Our only possible shortcut, which is angle similarity. So triangle MLN is similar to what triangle? M goes with C, L goes with L, and N goes with P. How are we feeling? Yes. You should, yes, because that's your reason why. Okay. Well, you have to on Monday. Yes. Oh, did I change my letters around from the way yours were? I'm sorry. Oh, so it's a D instead of a P?
We get the general idea.
Okay. Oh, I did CL. I'm sorry, CL. Yeah, you're right. I wrote that wrong, didn't I? CLD. It's supposed to be a D. D. Sorry. Please forgive me. Never? Oh, wow. You guys are harsh. All right. Any other questions? Do spend time this weekend going over this, redoing it, studying it. Make sure you know what types of answers are being looked for so you can do very, very well on this quiz on Monday. And then we can finish work on the second half of the chapter next week. Remember, next week's a short week. You only have 3.5 days. But we're going to still be working every day, including the half day. So, no, ends in March. Don't frighten me.